am Black, no, I am not African American. This is a documentary based on Blacks who come from across the globe. They live in America and are often identified as African American because of their physical appearances. Sergeant Josh Allen, Pastor Lewis Branch, Destiny Black, and Lucia Johannes speak on their personal experiences dealing with their variety of cultural upbringings and discrepancies that they have had to face while trying to embrace who they really are and where they come from versus who America wants them to be. Dr. Otis S. Johnson, the former mayor of Savannah, Georgia, and civil rights leader, speaks on his definition and views of being Black in America, along with giving some insight on the United States history.
My name is Otis S. Johnson. My profession is social work. I have an MSW and I also have a PhD in social policy. My ancestors were brought here to the United States from Africa, so I'm a descendant of African people.
I am not African American because my mother's side of the family is full 100% Puerto Rican, and my dad's side of the family is Jamaican, which both sides are from the islands. I was raised with my grandma, she was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and she moved here around the age of early 20s. So she's been in America for a really long time, but she always raised me and my mom and my grandma.
My name is John Newton. I'm the editor of a bilingual newspaper here in Savannah called La Voz Latina. Most of my contact with people who read our paper is in a social context. I don't have that much interaction with them in their jobs or in their daily lives, other than when I see them at festivals and events and things like that. So most of my experience relates to people that I'm around at fiestas or parties or out of the office. And so everything that I've observed is pretty much based on that experience.
Hi, my name is Joshua Allen. Currently working with the United States Army. My parents actually, they are background Jamaican. I was born in Panama. My dad was born in Colón, which is like the coast of Panama. Then I moved to the United States in 1999. Arrived to Orlando for 6 months, didn't like it, went back to Panama, and then I ended up in New York, which is one of the greatest cities.
I must admit that I had what is called, what they call culture shock, and basically I had to readjust to what it was like to be a Black person, because in Panama at least I was Black, but I was considered Panamanian. I'm the Panamanian. Here in the United States, not only was I a foreigner because I was not from the United States, but I was also Black.
My name is Sarah Lucia Johannes. My father is Dr. Johannes. My father did a lot of research in the United States as well as in the continent of Africa. He lectured there and all over the world, so he was able to give real life experience as well as scholarly input into being Black across the globe.
Dr. Johnson feels as though Black being the better generic description for people that are of African descent. Looking at people in the diaspora, you see that there is a rainbow of different skin complexions, facial shapes, and types.
That's why many people say that we should just call ourselves Black, or some people say we ought to just call ourselves people of African descent. That will get past the nationalism, because we get Africans who come to the United States and become citizens, but they want to maintain the fact that they are Nigerian, that they are Ghanaian, that they are from Sierra Leone. They don't want to give up that sort of national identity. But when they come into this race-conscious society, they're generally just lumped in because of their physical features with African Americans.
Destiny shows the variation that runs through the Hispanic side of her family. She shares the differences from her sister and brother's physical appearance, which ranges from white to dark skin, straight to kinky types of hair. Because Destiny does not speak Spanish, many try to make her alienate herself from her Puerto Rican roots.
And they don't have to speak Spanish. I have, a couple friends that have been raised in a Hispanic household with both parents speaking Spanish, like they can barely speak English, and the kid will come out not knowing how to speak Spanish.
I think that for some Latinos, it's important maybe to let the people they're around understand that they do bring a culture to this country that may be different from what somebody just looking at them would expect to find. I know you and I talked about the fact that lots of Latinos, they like to have a flag in their cars. Usually they put a little flag around the mirror, the rearview mirror of their car, and it can be a flag from Panama or a flag from Costa Rica or Puerto Rico or somewhere, and it sort of gives them the chance to say to the world, you see me driving this car, but you don't understand that I have a certain pride in where I come from, and so don't prejudge that my experience or who I am or what I represent just because you see me driving this car. And the discussion goes much larger than that.
In Panama, normally you are Panamanian. You're not white Panamanian, you're not black Panamanian, you're not Chinese Panamanian, you're just Panamanian. So when I came to the United States, I was an immigrant. I was literally with no papers, no documents.
Sergeant Allen worked very hard to get his documentations to become a citizen in America. He discusses the differences in how he was accepted more up north versus the south, and also how he was accepted more by the Latinos than the blacks. Josh Allen considers himself blessed to have what he calls his United Nations throughout his entire family, from his Korean children to his Puerto Rican wife and family.
With the immigrants, the Latino, than the black community, because as soon as I talk, it was, oh yes, you look black, but you're not. And then the Hispanics said, well, they start talking about me, but they didn't know that I knew Spanish. So it was just like I was in the middle of everything. So I had to find common ground for everything, and then embrace everybody around me and let them know who actually I was.
So I kind of felt like a triple, a three-way sword, coming at me. I was a foreigner, I was black, and I was Hispanic.
When somebody asks me what is my nationality, for instance, I will say my mother is from Colombia, South America. My father is black. I tend to fill in the rest of the question because they want to know, what am I? If I'm telling the truth, I will tell them I'm a child of God. And ultimately, color does not necessarily define me, but it makes me proud of who I am in society and in the world and culturally.
Destiny Black has a message for those who often misidentify and judge others based off of their physical features.
It's supposed to look like if they're white. So I think it's like some people should take some time to consider that, there's a lot of different ways, shapes, and forms that people can come in from a different race and a different racial background. So I think people should take that into consideration instead of just coming up to somebody and just being like, oh, well, you don't fit the profile that I see for that person, so I'm just going to automatically think that you're something else.
Same race, same skin, different cultures, striving to increase the knowledge on the different levels to blackness.